Hey, what's good, everyone? Episode 8 of the Quarantine Q&A, and in this episode, I'm going to talk about my favorite TV shows, at least TV shows that inspired me in such a way that it influenced the work that I do or the way that I work. Also, whether UN or lobbying at the UN, whether it is legalized bribery. At least that was a question. I think the most impressive speeches that I wrote, that was one question as well. And then also something that people don't know about the platform negotiations under the UNFCCC. So yeah, let's go.
What are the most impressive speeches you've written? And what was the process?
All right, I like this question a lot because it actually improved, it shows that my speech writing skills have improved a little bit over the years, ever since 2015 or 2014, definitely. Two speeches come to mind that I wrote and actually were read out loud and not just written for myself and not presented in any way. So this one is two. The first one is the speech that was written for Talia, my brother from Tuvalu. He was co-chair of the Indigenous Caucus under the UNFCCC, so the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, and he was asked to present a statement during COP 23. Yes, yeah, and that was held in Bonn under the presidency of Fiji. So he was very busy because as a co-chair, you have a lot of things to do in terms of coordinating, attending meetings, a lot of things that, because you're a facilitator. You facilitate the Indigenous Peoples movement under the UNFCCC. So there's not a lot of things that you can do in terms of joining meetings that are on negotiations. Back then it was a platform and articles of the Paris Rule Book. And he had to do a lot of things on top of the work that he had did for the Tuvalu delegation as well, because he was also part of the Tuvalu delegation in terms of, he was part of the Tuvalu delegation. Anyway, so he asked me to think about writing a statement, a speech, opening remarks for the Indigenous Day. So during the COP meeting, COP session, one day out of the 2 weeks is dedicated as Indigenous Peoples Day, where Indigenous peoples, declare that day it will be focused on Indigenous peoples in terms of side events, in terms of some meetings. There's also standing negotiation sessions already ongoing, so it's not that everything is focused on Indigenous peoples, but at least some of them are focused on Indigenous peoples. And we usually the opening session is attended by the COP presidency, the executive secretary of the UNFCCC and other dignitaries, as well as Indigenous peoples, of course. So what he asked me was that whether I could start writing a statement. And which is tough because it's not necessarily a statement. They're opening remarks. And when you talk about opening remarks, it is mostly inspirational and motivational, and not so much about really a declaration or something. So what I did was, I had I think it was on a Friday. Yeah. So the day itself was on a Friday, and I had an entire week to start writing stuff. So, and this is something that not a lot of people know, because from Monday till Thursday, I was writing one statement that I was polishing. I wrote something, polishing it, checking in with Maina. He was okay with it, and I'm polishing it again, and I'm checking in so until Thursday. We were zooming in on a particular text that he only had to read out loud. But then, the Friday morning, Thursday night. So the night that goes into like the Friday morning, I had a change of heart, because this speech was not Mina. Like it was me talking and not Mina talking. And Mina is he goes to church a lot. Like a lot of people, most of the people in Tuvalu, they go to church. They're church-going people. They very much believe in God, and he also does sermons from time to time. When I was in Tuvalu, I attended one of his sermons. It was great, and that was actually during when the Pacific Island Forum, Polynesian, at least the Polynesian leaders were there. So what happened was, I tried to channel to Mina in terms of, well, how would he present himself? How would he present his cause? Because Tuvalu is very much on the front lines of climate change. Kiribati, like most of the Pacific Island states, in addition to all the rest of the world, of course. So what I did was channel him, and then it came up in like, I remember it was from 5 till 8 or 8:30 that I actually, like, I basically threw away the entire speech and wrote an entirely new one that was more Mina. So the opening ceremony of the Indigenous Peoples Day was at 9 a.m. or 9:30, at least in the morning, like one of the first sessions that we had to attend in the morning. And I remember I was in the bus still drafting it, or finalizing it. And yeah, I walked into the UN venue, and first thing I did, I went to DOSIP. So back then, David, he was the executive director of DOSIP back then, and Karen, she was a coordinator back then. They all left, unfortunately. I gave them the copy, like, could you, like, no, I sent them an email, like, could you please make copies of this, because like this is what mine has to read. And it was, I imagined him reading the statement, but it was nothing compared to like how he actually read it. It was how he read it. It was amazing, and I hope like there was some recording of it, at least a part of it, which was amazing. And yeah, I hope that someone still has a copy of it, because it was a pretty good speech, very inspirational and very motivational, and made some people very emotional. So like, and it was, yeah, like, it was all Mina, like the way that he is able to present himself, present whatever he believes in, because he also talked, well, this speech also talked about family values. Yeah, that was amazing. And then like another speech was the one that I had to write for myself for the commemoration of the 10th anniversary of the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, at least the adoption of it. So that was held, yeah, in December. Oh, December. During the May not May session. It was held during the Print Forum. There was a separate event on the commemoration, and yeah, I remember writing it. Like, it was only in 2 days that I wrote that statement. And props up to my sister Jasmine. She did a lot of polishing, like last minute. Oh, by the way, yeah, because that was really last minute, because I was scheduled to speak on Tuesday. Then I got to speak on Tuesday because there was a lot of things going on, and there was an overflow of people. Like Stace wanted to spoke a lot longer than they, than they initially indicated. So I was moved to the Wednesday. So on Tuesday I had a statement, and I changed it overnight to a more, motivational statement. Instead of like shaming and blaming, which was the Thursday statement, the Tuesday statement, I went into motivation, into empowerment, and acknowledging people that were part of the declaration, and also yeah, indicating or stating what should happen next, in terms of implementation of the rights of Indigenous peoples as well. And it's something along the lines of, yeah, like the Indigenous peoples, keep doing what you're doing, keep practicing your culture, practicing your ways, your round dances, playing the pife, your national aspirations, keep protecting your lands, everything else. So I think that was also a very impressive statement that I was very proud of to have written. And I think that statement is actually, that speech is actually in full on my YouTube channel. So please, if you, after this, please listen to that statement.
What's your all-time favorite television show?
Airwolf, MacGyver, Baywatch, Thunderbirds is a good one. But the top one that actually influenced my work, the way I do what I do, would definitely be The West Wing. I love that show. I from time to time I binge watch that show because there's a lot of things that are so interesting to me that really like part of like I like to learn in a fun way, and like it shows like the inside politics of policy making, like, and the nuances, the aha moments, the ups and downs, failures, mistakes, the celebrations, and yeah, it was, so the way that Aaron Sorkin, so he was like the writer of that show, like it was brilliantly written, at least the first 4 seasons, because like he left the show after the fourth season, but like the way he wrote it was brilliant. I love the way that he like included these nitbits, these nuggets of information, and it was like brain candy to me. So I cannot pick any particular episode out of it, because they're all like building up towards to like the season finales have been always like been 100% amazing. So yeah, so definitely I not encourage you, but like if you're interested in watching TV shows that have like drama with drama combined with policy making, yeah, 100% The West Wing. And then yeah, who doesn't love the way Martin Sheen does, well, everyone, the whole cast does their own part, but like Martin Sheen as a president, like we all wish that we had a president like that, so yeah, like hopefully he'll run for president one day. I don't know, I'm not a US citizen, but I would definitely support him.
Is lobbying at the UN legalized bribery at the international stage?
Oh, well, you could look at it that way, but that's not the way that I see it. Of course, there are stories that you hear, but these are just stories, and I don't know whether they are true or not, of like people taking bribes or like quid pro quo situations. Yeah, these are just stories, and mostly like you see them like on TV shows and movies. So it's not necessarily that it happens every day, at least in the work that in the arena, in the meetings that I participate in. At least what I know, and I know that a lot of Indigenous peoples think like this, or agree with me that we go in good faith. Like bribery is bad faith. Indigenous peoples go in good faith, engage in good faith. We show up in numbers because we're all concerned, and we talk about ethics, we could talk about equity, we talk about equality, we talk about reciprocity, respect, empathy. I always said empathy. Anyway, it is, we come in with our rights, like we are rightful owners of custodians of these lands. We want the lands back, we want our territories back, we want our lives back, or our people back. So there's no room for bribery, because it is, yeah, the work that the intentions, the purpose of why we do what we do is so much more that like as soon as you slip into like acts of bribery, like then you actually willingly step away from why we got into this, I think. You know, so at least for us, for Indigenous peoples, is what I think is that like we don't lobby at the UN and using bribery as a method, as a tool. No, it's not. Like we talk, we speak, we share our stories, we try to convince people on the merits of rights, on the merits of indigenous sovereignty. Like there's a lot of good things that are that come in when you respect the rights of indigenous peoples, when you respect the sovereignty of indigenous peoples. That yeah, like bribery doesn't come, at least from my point of view, it doesn't even come to mind.
Is there something that people don't know about the UNFCCC Indigenous Platform negotiations?
Oh, there's a lot of things that people don't know about the negotiations, because at least there's also like some things that I don't know, because even though I was at the table, lead negotiator for Indigenous peoples, that there was some side conversations as well, like between Indigenous peoples and their respective countries, or countries internally, or like countries amongst one another. You know, so like I only can speak to what I know and what I've seen, what I've observed. Because there's like, when it comes to negotiation, there's a lot of scuttlebutt, there's a lot of rumors going on. And like something that you need to be careful of when you step into those negotiations is that's a lot of noise. Like all these rumors are the scuttlebutt, like it is all noise. And you gotta like, if you're like the lead negotiator, if you're the spokesperson, you gotta keep your ears out. Like you gotta keep listening for the signal. And yeah, what I learned is that like you gotta try to educate people to like, all right, what is actually true and what is not true. Like, and sometimes like people, when they think they have information, they come to you like, well, I heard that this country is opposed to this XYZ, so now we should ask the other country to counter that. So, and you get that a lot of times. You get yeah, like at least 10 times a day. People that come in with information that they think that's accurate. So like we gotta keep out listening for the signal throughout the noise. That's a sidestep. And to answer the question, there's one thing actually that really comes into my mind is that so at the final, like at the 11th hour of the negotiations on a platform, that there was some polishing, and we came to the language of respecting the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, and we thought it was okay. And then one country came in like respecting the Declaration in its entirety, and those words they seem like semantics to the untrained eye, to the untrained person that sees this line and like, oh yeah, sure, so it's okay, like it says the same, but it actually is not. And I think like there's not a lot of people, but there's some people out there that see this as a victory in the respecting the Declaration in its entirety. Well, it's not, because it actually opens up that particular line for interpretation. Because when you respect the Declaration, you respect it, the end, period, and you don't respect it in its entirety. Because when you include the words in its entirety, what it actually can be interpreted. It can be interpreted as in, you can also interpret only sections of the Declaration or some articles of the Declaration. For example, Article 46, which is very interesting to a lot of states, so that so if you say like in its entirety, it means that like this Declaration on Rights of Indigenous Peoples is different from other declarations like the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and all that, so it is not, it is in there. It's unfortunate. It is something that I feel that it is not helping us, but it's not hurting us if we keep it that way. The last thing that we need to do is actually amplify that idea, that when we go into other negotiations, that we say, well, under UNFCCC, what we did was include in its entirety. Are you okay with that? As soon as we do that, that's a problem. So keep it controlled, maintain it to the platform, but not use it in other processes, both under and outside of the UNFCCC convention. So I hope, although I made that clear, because when you say like respecting or reaffirming the rights of Indigenous peoples or the Declaration of Rights of Indigenous Peoples, that's it. Like it is equal to any other instrument of international law. It is equal to other declarations. So when you add this caveat or add these three words, it may seem like it is the same, but it is not. It actually implies that the declaration is like a menu that you can pick and choose articles from, and so like adding these words was not something that I was happy with, but it's a delicate balance. Like you need to see it in the entire context of the negotiations. Is that like it was such a delicate balance that there were some things that we really did not want in there that were even more destructive for the process, for Indigenous peoples at large, that we were very happy that we've been able to get those out. And then this at the 11th hour, and I had to check in with a lot of regions. What do you guys think? And people said, like, we're okay with it. So if they're okay with it, I'm okay with it, provided that we do not amplify this whole idea of creating like qualifications of the declaration. Like in its entirety is a qualification. So definitely something that a lot of people don't know, but I really want to get out there. Anyway, I think like these were the like 4 questions. So yeah, that's it for now. Thank you so much for consuming the content. Thank you so much for keep sending in your questions. That's very helpful getting me through this whole quarantine situation. If you have any questions or additional questions or thoughts, comments, or you want to take me to town about things, yeah, just drop me a line in the comments or social. I'm always open for to engage in conversations. I love conversations. Other than that, yeah, have a great day.